Party deliberates on enhancing party strength at booth level ahead of 2024 Lok Sabha elections. Hello and welcome to News at 5. I am Pooja and we start the bulletin with a big story at this hour. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma has taken strong exception of the Vineet Bagaria suicide case that has sent shockwaves across the state. Well, Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma visited Vineet's residence in eastern Assam's Dibrugarh district this afternoon and said that Dibrugarh district administration had totally failed in responding to the complaints made by the deceased, including his family members. Himanta Biswa Sharma, who is popular as the People's Chief Minister, in fact sought apology before the family of Vineet Bagaria and the people of the state. Well, Chief Minister Sharma apologized considering the fact that his message to the police administration to be people-friendly has not been adhered to by the Dibrugarh District Police Administration. Well, considering the gravity of the circumstances that led to the tragic incident, Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma has directed for a proper investigation to ascertain facts and book the culprits. Thus, it is clear in no uncertain terms that the police authorities for whose alleged negligence led to the death of Vineet Bagaria. So, big story at this point in time, viewers. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma has taken strong exception of Vineet Bagaria's suicide case that has sent shockwaves across the state. Well, Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma visited Vineet's residence in eastern Assam's Dibrugarh district this afternoon and said that the Dibrugarh district administration had totally failed in responding to the complaints made by the deceased, including his family members. Himanta Biswa Sharma, who is popular as the People's Chief Minister, in fact sought apology before the family of Vineet Bagaria and the people of the state. Well, Chief Minister Sharma apologized considering the fact that his message to the police administration to be people-friendly has not been adhered to by the Dibrugarh District Police Administration. And considering the gravity of the circumstances that led to the tragic incident, Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma has directed for a proper investigation to ascertain facts and book the culprits. And thus it is clear in no uncertain terms that the police authorities for whose alleged negligence led to the death of Vineet Bagaria.
আমাৰ ডিব্ৰুগড়ত এটা অত্যন্ত দুখজনক ঘটনা সংঘটিত হয়। আমাৰ ইয়াতে এজন ব্যক্তিৰ অত্যাচাৰ বা বিভিন্ন ধৰণৰ আইন বিৰোধী কামৰ বাবে এজন অতি উদীয়মান যুৱকে আত্মহত্যা কৰিবলগীয়া হয়। আৰু মই এইটো যিখিনি কথা শুনিলো তাৰ পৰা মই এইটো কথা ক'ব পাৰো যে ডিব্ৰুগড় administration was totally failed. তেওঁলোক ব্যৰ্থ হৈছিল আৰু পৰিয়ালটোৰ ওচৰত মই ক্ষমাও খুজিছো যে মই মুখ্যমন্ত্ৰী হৈ থকাৰ পিছত আৰু আমাৰ ফালৰ পৰা স্পষ্টভাৱে আৰক্ষীক মেছেজ যোৱাৰ পিছত যে দোষীৰ লগত কেতিয়াও কম্প্ৰমাইজ কৰিব নালাগে, সাধাৰণ মানুহৰ লগত আৰক্ষী থাকিব লাগে। তাৰ পিছতো এই যিটো ঘটনা হ'ল তাৰ বাবে অসমবাসী ৰাইজৰ ওচৰত মই ক্ষমা বিচাৰিছো। এটো হ'ব নালাগিছিল, যি কৰিব লাগে আমি কৰিম, কিন্তু এই ঘটনাটোৱে মোক অত্যন্ত দুখ দিছে আৰু এইটো ঘটনা কেতিয়াও হ'ব নালাগিছিল। মই নিজেই ক'লো না, এক কথাত মই গোটেইখিনিয়ে কৈছো যে এইটো মই ক'ব লাগিব যে এইটো দুখ ময়ো মূৰ পাতি লৈছো যে তাৰমানে মই যিখিনি মেছেজ দিব চেষ্টা কৰিছিলো সেই মেছেজখিনি আৰক্ষী এতিয়ালৈকে পোৱাই নাই, যে সদায় ইনোসেন্ট মানুহৰ লগত থাকিব, নিৰপৰাধী মানুহৰ লগত থাকিব আৰু ক্ৰিমিনেলৰ লগত কম্প্ৰমাইজ নকৰিব। এইটো আছিল মোৰ মেছেজ। কিন্তু ডিব্ৰুগড়ৰ দৰে টাউনত যদি এই মেছেজটো এতিয়ালৈকে আমাৰ জিলা প্ৰশাসনে পোৱা নাই, বাকি ভিতৰুৱা গাঁৱত আৰু কিমান কি হৈ আছে। গতিকে এই ঘটনাটো অত্যন্ত দুখজনক ঘটনা, অত্যন্ত কৰুণ ঘটনা আৰু তাৰ কাৰণে পৰিয়ালটোৰ ওচৰতো মই ক্ষমা বিচাৰিছোঁ আৰু অসমবাসী ৰাইজৰ ওচৰতো মই ক্ষমা বিচাৰিছোঁ।
Meanwhile, we also have reactions coming in from kin of deceased Vineet Bagaria after Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma's visit. Let's listen in.
বহুত আশাবাদী, তেওঁৰ ওপৰত বহু কথা আশাবাদী, কাৰণ আমি নহয় গোটেই ৰাজ্য গোটেই দেশ তেওঁৰ ওপৰত বিশ্বাস কৰিছে। আজি তেওঁ আমাৰ এটা CM আছে, তাৰ কাৰণে মই তেওঁক কৈছোঁ আমি ৰাম ৰাজ্যত বহি আছো এতিয়া, তেওঁৰ কাৰণে আমি ইমান মানে শান্তিত বহি আছো আজি, কোনো ভয় চয় নাই। কিন্তু সেইটো ইনচিডেণ্ট হোৱাৰ পাছত ডিব্ৰুগড় এডমিনিষ্ট্ৰেশ্যনৰ ওপৰত এতিয়া বিশ্বাস চেছ হৈ গ'ল। তেওঁ ক্ষমা খুজিছে, কিন্তু তেওঁৰ কোনো ভুল নাই, তেওঁ কোনো ভুল হোৱা নাই। তেওঁ নিজে আজি ক্ষমা খুজিছে, তেওঁ নিজে লাজ পাইছে কি তেওঁ এক বছৰত তেওঁ থকা পাছতো তেনেকৈ ডিব্ৰুগড় নিচিনা টাউনত এনেকৈ কথা হ'ব পাৰে তেওঁ ভাবা নাছিল। তেওঁ নিজে কৈছে মোৰ কি চিকিউৰিটি আছে। আজি মোৰ চিফ মিনিষ্টাৰৰ ওপৰত বহুত বিশ্বাস আছে আৰু মোক পুৰা বিশ্বাস আছে কি চিফ মিনিষ্টাৰ সাহেব ডেফিনেটলি আমাক জাষ্টিছ দিব, মোৰ ল'ৰাক জাষ্টিছ দিব। মোৰ CMৰ ওপৰত বহুত বিশ্বাস আছে, মই ভগৱানৰ নিচিনা তাক পূজা কৰোঁ। তেওঁ মোক মোৰ ফেমিলিক জাষ্টিছ দিব, আমাক ফেমিলি চিকিউৰিটি দিব, মোৰ বিশ্বাস আছে।
আজি তেওঁ আহিছে এজন জেনেৰেল মানুহ ঘৰত, মই বহুত ভাল পালোঁ সেইটো কথা যে তেওঁ ৰাইজৰ লগত মিলি থাকে, ৰাইজৰ দুখ যি কিবা প্ৰব্লেম হয় এইটো তেওঁ ভালকৈ বুজি পায়। আৰু তেওঁ নিজে কৈছে মই বহুত লাজ পাইছোঁ যে আমাৰ এডমিনিষ্ট্ৰেশ্যন এনেকুৱা কাম কৰিছে যিটো হ'বই নেলাগিছিলে। মানে কথা হ'ল যে এজন মানুহ ছুইচাইড কৰি ল'লে সেইটো ডাঙৰ কথা নহয়, ইয়াত আহি কোনোবা দম দিয়ে তাৰ পাছত এইটো ঘটনা হৈ যোৱাটো তো বহুত ডাঙৰ কথা হৈ গ'ল। কিন্তু এইটো হ'বই নালাগিছিলে, মানে মোৰ কোৱা কথা এইটোৱে যে তেওঁ ইমানেই লাজ পাইছে। আমি ভাবোঁ যে এই বস্তুটো গোটেই ফাষ্ট ট্ৰেকত লোৱা হয়, ফাষ্ট ট্ৰেক কোৰ্ট বুলি কোৱা হয়, তাত লোৱা হয়। তো সিহঁতি বেলেগ মানুহক দম দিব নোৱাৰিব, নহ'লে সিহঁতি বেল চেল লৈ ফুৰি থাকিব, আকৌ চবক দম দি থাকিব, সেইটো হ'ব নালাগে।
And on to a big national story now. Well, at least 16 people have died in the cloudburst that struck the area near Amarnath Holy Shrine on Friday evening. Rescue operations have been intensified as around 40 people are still missing. The BSF's Mi-17 chopper has been pressed into action to transport injured persons and dead bodies. Most of the pilgrims who were stranded near the holy cave have been shifted to Panch Tarani, the ITBP said. Well, through the wall radars, the 2 search and rescue dogs have been moved to the holy cave for rescue operations via helicopters from Sharifabad. All SDMs, Tehsildars of Ramban district have been ordered to remain on high alert. Indian Air Force helicopters and transport aircrafts have been commenced operations to airlift NDRF personnel to the site and rescue the pilgrims. The Indian Army has employed sophisticated rescue equipments and trained professionals on site. Search operations and clearing of debris are still underway.
Since yesterday evening, 3 NDRF teams were concentrated on the spot for rescue operations, about 75 rescuers. We have added more from Sheshnag, so about 100 plus rescuers are right now involved in the relief work. Aside from that, with the help of the Indian Air Force, more resources are being airlifted in. Canine squads are being deployed, and extra equipment which will be useful for this kind of a terrain and situation also is being flown in by the Indian Air Force, so that the NDRF teams are strengthened to operate in this situation. As per information, 5 people were rescued alive at the very beginning when the disaster struck. 16 casualties have been confirmed, and about 40 people still seem to be missing. Though we hope that with the kind of deployment, the best resources that the country can place at the disposal of the citizens in such a situation would help in rescuing more and more people alive from that situation.
स्थिति अभी जो भी रिलीफ एंड रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन है अभी भी चालू है। भारतीय सेना, स्टेट के फोर्सेस, दूसरे डिपार्टमेंट, NDRF, SDRF सभी बहुत अच्छे कोऑर्डिनेशन में काम कर रहे हैं। रिलीफ और रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन बहुत जोर शोर से चला हुआ है, पर एग्जैक्टली उसमें कंप्लीट होने में टाइम कितना लगेगा, ये क्योंकि बहुत ही डिफिकल्ट टेरेन है, बारिश बहुत ज़्यादा हुई है, स्लाइडिंग ज़्यादा थी, तो एग्जैक्ट टाइम और फिगर देना अभी संभव नहीं है। जैसे जैसे ऑपरेशन प्रोग्रेस होगा आप लोगों को उसके हिसाब से इन्फॉर्मेशन दे दूँगा। अभी तक तकरीबन मेरे पास में 28 इंजर्ड आ चुके हैं जी। उसमें से कुछ को थोड़ी सी ज़्यादा इंजरी थी, उनको हमारे आर्मी के हॉस्पिटल में सबसे पहले आर्मी के हेडक्वार्टर में लाके हॉस्पिटल में लेके इनको स्टेबलाइज करके डॉक्टर ने चेक करके फिर ऐसे कुछ पेशेंट्स हैं जिनको ज़्यादा इंजरी थी उनको श्रीनगर शिफ्ट कर दिया गया है। बाकी जो पेशेंट्स हैं डॉक्टर अपने कॉल के हिसाब से उनको ट्रीट कर रहे हैं। इन टोटल नियरली 8 चॉपर्स were there, including airforce and army.
It may be mentioned here that the cloudburst occurred around 5:30 p.m. last evening. At least 3 community kitchens and 24 tents of pilgrims were washed away near Panch Tarani in South Kashmir. Panch Tarani, 130 km from Srinagar, houses one of the rest camps for the pilgrims. It is located between the base camp at Pahalgam and the last rest camp at Sheshnag Lake near the Amarnath Cave Shrine. Earlier, the strategic Jammu-Srinagar highway was blocked by landslides and mud slush triggered by rain at many places. On to some international news now. Well, Sri Lanka enters into further pandemonium with each passing day. Well, today, protesters demanding the resignation of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa entered his official residence in Colombo after putting down the barricades. Now, police used tear gas and water cannons and opened fire to disperse protesters this morning to prevent protesters from entering. However, the protesters entered the president's house after putting down the barricades. Protesters were seen cooking food in the kitchen at Gotabaya Rajapaksa's residence. Earlier visuals emerged where protesters were seen swimming in the pool in the president's residence. Well, Rajapaksa, who was facing calls for resignation since March, was using the president's house as his official residence and office since protesters came to occupy the entrance to his office early April. Now, according to sources, the president was shifted to the army headquarters last night before the protesters surrounded the president's palace. Meanwhile, at least 30 persons, including 2 police officers, were injured during ongoing protests and were admitted to the National Hospital in Colombo. 16 MPs from President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's party, Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, have requested an immediate resignation of the president. Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe today summoned an emergency party leaders meeting to discuss a resolution to the situation in the country. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Wickremesinghe today declared that Sri Lanka is bankrupt. And this formal statement by the Prime Minister came in as the country suffers its worst financial crisis in decades, leaving millions struggling to buy food, medicine, and fuel. Wickremesinghe told lawmakers that negotiations with the International Monetary Fund to revive the country's collapsed economy are difficult because Sri Lanka has entered the talks as a bankrupt country rather than a developing one. He said that since Sri Lanka is participating in negotiations as a bankrupt country, it would face more difficulty and complications in the process.
This morning have finally stormed into the president's house in Fort, and they are now marching. They are trying to storm into the president's house, as you can see.
So there on your screens are visuals from the President's Palace premises where Sri Lanka continues into a further pandemonium with each passing day. And today protesters can be seen demanding the resignation of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who entered his official residence in Colombo after putting down the barricades. Police used tear gas and water cannons and opened fire to disperse protesters this morning to prevent protesters from entering. Now, protesters entered the president's house after putting down the barricades. Protesters were seen cooking food in the kitchen at Gotabaya Rajapaksa's residence. And earlier visuals emerged where protesters were seen as swimming in the pool in President's residence. Rajapaksa, who was facing calls for resignation since March, was using the President's house as his residence and office since protesters came to occupy the entrance to his office early April. And according to sources, the president was shifted to the army headquarters last night before the protesters surrounded the president's palace. All right, back to region now. A delegation of TTAADC led by Pradyut Kishore Dev Burma met with Tripura Chief Minister Dr. Manik Saha today in Agartala. The main discussion was over improving the administration and informing the new Chief Minister regarding the existing problems in the TTAADC and what role the state can play in resolving them. The delegation also invited the Chief Minister to visit the TTAADC areas and review the existing problems, and to which the Chief Minister agreed to conduct the review meeting very soon. Now, this was confirmed later to the media by Pradyut Dev Burma. Dev Burma, who said that the main concerns in the TTAADC administration are inadequate funding, lack of officers, and unemployment, among others.
तो क्योंकि अभी स्टेट में एक नया चीफ मिनिस्टर आया है, तो हमारे सीईओ सीके जमातिया जी जो मेरे साथ बैठे हैं, आईएएस ऑफिसर, मेरे चेयरमैन जगदीश चंद्र देव वर्मा, अनिमेश, हम लोग आज आकर उनसे एक पहली बार ऑफिशियली हमने मुलाकात किया और हमने अपना पॉइंट्स उनको रखा है कि एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को कैसे ठीक किया जाए, हमारे एडीसी में क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम है, उसको आप किस तरीके से समस्या का हल कर सकते हैं, हमने उनको ब्रीफ किया है और हमने उनको निमंत्रण भी दिया है कि आप एक बार एडीसी आकर पूरे एडीसी का रिव्यू कीजिए कि कहाँ में क्या प्रॉब्लम्स हैं। उन्होंने वेलकम किया और उन्होंने कहा कि वो जल्द से जल्द एक रिव्यू मीटिंग रखेंगे रिगार्डिंग एडीसी एंड द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट कि एडीसी में बहुत फंडिंग का प्रॉब्लम है, एडीसी में नौकरी का प्रॉब्लम है। हम नौकरी अनाउंस कर सकते हैं लेकिन नौकरी का पेइंग करने के लिए सैलरी नहीं दे सकते हैं, तो ऑफिसर्स की कमी है, हमें टीसीएस ऑफिसर्स नहीं मिल रहा है, तो बहुत प्रॉब्लम्स हैं। तो ये सब बात के लिए एक हमने कहा है कि एक रिव्यू मीटिंग किया जाए।
On to some other news now. Well, the Assam BJP is holding its executive body meeting in Dibrugarh. The main agenda of the meeting is to further strengthen the party at the grassroots ahead of 2024 Lok Sabha elections. The crucial executive body meeting is being presided over by State BJP President Bhavesh Kolita. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma also attended the meet earlier today before leaving the meeting for some urgent matter. Well, presidents of as many as 40 district committees, Prabharis and deputy Prabharis of the districts are attending the executive committee meeting. Besides, the presidents of all frontal organizations of the party are also present in the meeting. Earlier today, Chief Minister Sharma talked to the media before leaving the meeting venue.
আমাৰ ভাৰতীয় জনতা পাৰ্টিৰ ৰাষ্ট্ৰীয় কাৰ্যনিৰ্বাহক এইবাৰ হায়দৰাবাদত অনুষ্ঠিত হৈছিল। ৰাষ্ট্ৰীয় কাৰ্যনিৰ্বাহকত যিখিনি চিন্তাধাৰা হৈছিলে, বিষয়বস্তু আলোচনা হৈছিলে আৰু সিদ্ধান্ত হৈছিলে, সেইখিনি অৱগত আৰু আলোচনা কৰিবৰ বাবে ডিব্ৰুগড়ত আমাৰ অফিচ বেয়াৰাৰসকলৰ বা পদাধিকাৰীসকলৰ এখন বৈঠক অনুষ্ঠিত হয়। সভাত যোগদান কৰাৰ মোৰ সৌভাগ্য হয়। আমাৰ সভাখন আৰু কিছু দেৰি চলিব, কিন্তু মোৰ অলপ ব্যস্ততাত থকাৰ কাৰণে মই সভাখনৰ পৰা বিদায় লৈছোঁ আৰু আমাৰ সভাখনৰ শেষত দলৰ ফালৰ পৰা আপোনালোকক সভাখনৰ বিষয়ে বা প্ৰস্তাৱসমূহৰ বিষয়ে আপোনালোকক অৱগত কৰিব।
Well, the Assam Rifles today organized a massive awareness camp regarding the Agnipath scheme in Arunachal Pradesh's insurgency-infested Tirap district. Now, this indeed is a big positive development in Tirap, where movement of underground groups have been reported very often. The camp was organized on the occasion of the 36th Youth Day of Lucknow Youth Association. The event was primarily aimed to spread awareness among the youths and parents about the scheme. Meanwhile, the youths were highly motivated and expressed their profound desire to take up a career in the armed forces. Over 400 villagers attended the event and conveyed their heartfelt gratitude to Assam Rifles for wholeheartedly joining them in their celebrations and making it a huge success. On the other hand, the Assam Rifles Jazz Band also put up an enthralling performance in multiple languages, including local Nokte and Vancho songs, which mesmerized the audience. On to some other news now. Well, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma has made out an appeal to the state's Muslim community not to slaughter cows in areas that also have a sizable population of people from other faiths. Well, Chief Minister Sharma said that slaughter cows in such areas is not permissible under the Cattle Protection Act, and hence it should be avoided. He further said that he has faith in the people that his appeal would be considered.
মই নিশ্চয় ইছলাম ধৰ্মী ৰাইজক অনুৰোধ কৰিম যে আমাৰ কেটল যি প্ৰিজাৰ্ভেশ্যন আইন পাছ হৈছে সেই আইন অনুসৰি আন ধৰ্মৰ লোক থকা অঞ্চলত আমি গৰু কুৰবানী কৰা বা গৰুৰ মাংস খোৱাটো আইনৰ দ্বাৰা এতিয়া স্বীকৃত নহয়। সেইবাবে মই সমগ্ৰ ইছলাম ধৰ্মী ৰাইজক বকৰিদৰ শুভেচ্ছা জনাইছো আৰু তেওঁলোকক মই ইমানে আহ্বান জনাম ইয়াত কোনো একশন লোৱা শাস্তি লোৱা পুলিচ যোৱাৰ কথা নাই মোৰ তেখেতসকলৰ ওপৰত অযুত বিশ্বাস আছে।
And the Assam Chief Minister also said that there is going to be no police action on anybody, as he has faith that his appeal would be considered. Chief Minister Sharma also said that no restrictions and sacrifices would be imposed in areas that have a majority of Muslim population, as the Cattle Protection Bill does not say anything on this.
মই আৰক্ষীকো কৈছো যে আপোনালোকে কাৰো পিছত দৌৰাদৌৰি কৰিব নালাগে। মোৰ ৰাইজৰ ওপৰত বিশ্বাস আছে ৰাইজে আমাৰ এপিল বা ৰাইজে আমাৰ অনুৰোধ নিশ্চয় বিবেচনা কৰিব গ্ৰহণ কৰিব আৰু যত অন্য ধৰ্মৰ লোক নাই তাতে যি ধৰণৰ তেওঁলোকৰ ধৰ্মীয় ৰীতি-নীতি আছে তাক তেওঁলোকে পালন কৰিব পাৰে কাৰণ আমাৰ গো ৰক্ষা আইনে সেই ক্ষেত্ৰত বিশেষ কোনো কথা কোৱা নাই।
Meanwhile, Assam, as well as the rest of the nation, will be celebrating Eid al-Adha tomorrow. Well, that said, preparations are afoot across the state to celebrate the occasion with pomp and fervor.
बाजार पे एक बार मानू नहीं अपनी सही है से कहने के बाजार पर एक के बार मानू नहीं बाजार एकदम बेया ठंडा की को उपाय नहीं बिक्री करने इसमें क्या चलता है सवाई में थोड़ा चलता है थोड़ा काजू वजू चलेगा। हाँ
बाजार तो सवेतर बाढ़ पानी आई से कारण बाजार तो मानूंगी नहीं लेकिन बाजार ब्यास हाँ सवेतर माने किसे बिक्री करने आने ভাল করে বিক্রি হবো আচ্ছা আছে খেজুর আছে দি লাগে একটু সবে আছে মানুহ নাই বাজাৰত এনে বহি আছো, কাম ধান্দা নাই এইবেলা। আশা আছিলে, আশা পানী বানপানী আহি গ'ল, কেনেকে হ'ব বজাৰ এনে চলি আছে। খৰচা মজদুৰি ওলোৱা নাই, এনেকে কাম হৈ আছে আজিকালি।
Notably, Eid al-Adha is one of the most revered festivals in Islamic tradition across the globe. It comes nearly 2 months after Eid al-Fitr. And with that, we take a short break. Stay tuned for more news.
जाएंगे हम वहां जहां की हर खबर छुप जाती है और दिखाएंगे वो जो रहता है आपकी नजरों से उझर। पहुंचेंगे हम पूर्वोत्तर के हर कोने में
political issues.
नॉर्थ ईस्ट की हर खबर से आपको कराएंगे रूबरू।
एक पूरा पहाड़ नीचे आके रास्ते में जो भी आया उसको दबाते चला गया।
नमस्कार, समाचार नॉर्थ ईस्ट में आपका स्वागत है। मैं हूं कविता, स्टूडियो में मैं हूं दुर्मेश,
मैं हूं रविंद्र चौहान,
मैं रश्मि प्रिया शेर, मैं नश्विता महन।
समाचार नॉर्थ ईस्ट हर शाम 6 बजे।
News to keep you ahead.
Welcome back. And before moving to some other stories, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma takes a strong exception of Vineet Bagaria's suicide case. Chief Minister Sharma assures stern action against negligent police personnel and perpetrators. Cloudburst claims 16 lives during Amarnath Yatra. Search and rescue operations intensified to find missing persons. Hundreds of anti-government protesters break into Sri Lanka President's residence. Beleaguered President Gotabaya Rajapaksa flees official residence. TTAADC delegation led by Tripura Motha Chief Pradyut Dev Verma meets Chief Minister Manik Saha. Deliberations focus on improving governance in TTAADC areas. A massive brainstorming exercise of Assam BJP in Dibrugarh. Saffron Party deliberates on enhancing party strength at booth level ahead of 2024 Lok Sabha elections. Well, India is observing a one-day national mourning today over the demise of former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who was assassinated on Friday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while announcing a one-day national mourning, expressed his deepest condolences at the tragic demise of Shinzo Abe. Prime Minister Modi also highlighted Abe's role in elevating India-Japan relationship to an entire new level. Former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was assassinated Friday on a street in the city of Nara in western Japan by a gunman who opened fire on him from behind as he delivered a campaign speech. Meanwhile, NDA presidential candidate Draupadi Murmu's proposed meet with Sikkim legislators today in Siliguri has been postponed. Well, Draupadi Murmu was scheduled to meet Sikkim legislators today for garnering support for the candidature. Murmu's proposed meet with Sikkim legislators has been cancelled in the wake of one-day national mourning today due to the death of a former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. And under the circumstances, the visit of NDA's presidential candidate has been rescheduled for 11th of July. And we have reactions coming in from Political Secretary to Sikkim Chief Minister Jacob Kaling and Press Secretary to Chief Minister Bikash Basnet. Listen in.
राष्ट्रपति पद के जो उम्मीदवार द्रौपदी मुर्मू का जो सिलीगुड़ी का आज जो टूर था वो कैंसिल हुआ है, तो कैसे तैयारी चल रहा था और कैंसिल होने का वजह क्या है?
विशेष एनडीए का साझा राष्ट्रपति उम्मीदवार श्रीमती द्रौपदी मुर्मू का आज सिक्किम के एनडीए विधायकों दल के साथ एक विशेष सभा था। एनडीए में जो सिक्किम क्रांतिकारी मोर्चा और भाजपा सिक्किम के विधायकों का निश्चित कार्यक्रम था। पर कल जो एक दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण घटना घटा सिक्किम के इंडिया के हमारा मित्र राष्ट्र जापान के पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री के साथ, इसके कारण देश भर में आज शोक मनाया जा रहा है। इसलिए ये सिक्किम का मीटिंग श्रीमती द्रौपदी का आज का कैंसिल हुआ है। ये 11 तारीख को होगा। इसको हमने पूर्ण रूप ले उनको स्वागत के लिए और सभा के लिए तैयारी किया था। अब ये 11 तारीख रहेगा।
तैयारी के बारे में विशेष मैं बताना चाहता हूँ कि सिक्किम के जितना भी कल्चरल झांकी है और पारंपरिक जो स्वागत के लिए हम लोग तैयार कर रहे थे। इसका 2 भाग था, एक एयरपोर्ट में और जहाँ पर हम लोग का जो कार्यक्रम स्थल था वहाँ पर भी सिक्किम का पारंपरिक रूप से उनको स्वागत करना, और जहाँ कार्यक्रम स्थल था उसको भी हम लोग ने एक सिक्किम का फील दिया था, क्योंकि अभी रास्ते के कारण से और ये जो हेलीकॉप्टर का भी उतना समय अनुकूल नहीं है, क्योंकि सिक्किम जाने के लिए उनका जो समय नहीं था। इसलिए जहाँ पर हम लोग का कार्यक्रम स्थल था सिलीगुड़ी में, वहाँ पर सिक्किम का पारंपरिक ढांचा और सिक्किम का कल्चरल, सिक्किम का खान पान सब उनको हम लोग प्रदर्शन करने वाले थे। हम लोग 11 तारीख अभी कार्यक्रम आया है उनका औपचारिक रूप से, तो 11 तारीख हम ये कार्यक्रम संपन्न करने जा रहे हैं।
And we also have reactions coming in from Sikkim Chief Minister Prem Singh Tamang. Let's listen in.
इलेक्शन 18 तारीख को है सर, तो किन के साथ आप लोग?
हम लोग तो एनडीए है, हमारा एनडीए का घटक दल है हम लोग। तो हमारा एनडीए का उम्मीदवार है श्रीमती द्रौपदी मुर्मू मैडम है, उनको हम लोग पूरा समर्थन 100 में 100 समर्थन करेंगे।
सर, आप आमंत्रण दे रहा है कि उसको आपका स्टेट में आने के लिए?
हम आमंत्रण दे, आज था उनका, आज हमारा कार्यक्रम था, लेकिन जो जापान का पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री का जो देहांत हुआ, अनसर्टेन डेथ हुआ, उनके कारण आज स्टेट मॉर्निंग है, इसीलिए हम लोग ने इसको स्थगित करके हम 11 तारीख को ये प्रोग्राम करेंगे।
Members of the Assam BJP today paid rich tributes to former Japanese Premier Shinzo Abe, who was assassinated on Friday. A special tribute ceremony was held today in the sidelines of the BJP executive meet, which is being held in eastern Assam's Dibrugarh. On the other hand, in Arunachal Pradesh, Chief Minister Pema Khandu, along with MP and Bharatiya Janata Yuva Morcha National President Tejasvi Surya, paid homage to late former Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe, who was assassinated on Friday. The Chief Minister paid homage to the former Japan Prime Minister at the GRL Monastery in Bomdila today. Monks at the monastery, according to the Buddhist tradition, prayed for the swift rebirth of Abe. Well, earlier Chief Minister Pema Khandu fondly recalled the extraordinary humility of Shinzo Abe, his intense love for India and commitment to democratic values. Pema Khandu also joined Abe at the Samvad Symposium in Tokyo back in 2018. Khandu also said that Abe's death is a big loss to world politics. On to Meghalaya now, a complaint has been received from the aggrieved villagers of Darit Simra Gitim, South Garo Hills, under Gaswapara block and under the Bagmara constituency, where Samuel M. Sangma is the sitting local MLA. Well, the villagers of the said village have no way out to provide treatment for a sick woman in the locality, but to carry her on the stretcher to the hospital. Now, according to Gripping Maral, the vice president of Achik Organization for Social Welfare, that is AOSW, the villagers had to travel a distance of 12 kilometers to reach Dumnikhura Bazar, from where they can get a vehicle to the hospital. Now, Marak narrated the villagers' ordeal of carrying the sick woman while traversing through rough and slippery paths, crossing a number of big streams, and braving leeches and other poisonous insects to rescue the ailing woman's life. Now, Marak pointed out at the ambiguity, a scene of backwardness and hopelessness of the local leaders, officers, and stakeholders. Mara questioned the leaders' performance and strongly condemned their ignorance towards the common citizens, while urging the people to wake up and win over the crisis with democratic ideals. The Standing Technical Subcommittee of the National Technical Advisory Group on Immunization, or NTAGI, has recommended the use of Corbevax and Covaxin for children in the 5 to 12 age group. However, there was no decision on introducing these vaccines in the vaccination program immediately. Now, data of a biological ease Corbevax and Bharat Biotech's Covaxin for children aged between 5 and 12 years were reviewed in the STSC meeting, in which the members decided that the vaccines can be recommended for administering in children. The members, however, also stated that data of COVID burden and mortality among children is not robust enough to take any decision to begin vaccination of those below 12 years. The issue is likely to be discussed in the next meeting. And meanwhile, if we talk about the COVID cases, so India recorded 18,840 new coronavirus cases with 43 deaths in the last 24 hours. The daily positivity rate is at 4.14%, and the recovery rate is at 98.51%.
ये बहुत ही स्वागत योग कदम है. वी वेलकम दिस डिसीजन ऑफ सब्जेक्ट एक्सपर्ट सब कमेटी. और हमने देखा है कि जो वैक्सीनेशन का अभियान है भारत का, ये बहुत ही सफल रहा है. और पहले भी कॉर्बेवैक्स सफलतापूर्वक बच्चों में पहले से ही हम लगा रहे हैं, और अब ये क्योंकि 5 साल से 12 साल के बच्चों में भी अप्रूव हो गया है, तो इससे जो वैक्सीनेशन का कवरेज है वो बहुत बड़ा कवरेज हो जाएगा. और जो बच्चे, क्योंकि अब स्कूल खुल गए, कॉलेज खुल गए और बच्चों को रिस्क ज़्यादा था, तो ये जो बच्चे पहले जो अनवैक्सीनेटेड थे 5 से 12 साल की उम्र के, उनको भी अब वैक्सीन दिया जा पाएगा. तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा कदम है, और भारतीय वैज्ञानिकों का, डॉक्टरों का हम बहुत-बहुत बधाई देना चाहते हैं कि इन्होंने एक वर्ल्ड क्लास वैक्सीन भारतवर्ष को दी है.
Actually, the government needs data basically. Though we know that 5 to 12 years children are being vaccinated across the West, be it US, UK, Europe. So they must have some evidence that this is going to be effective. In India, we know we are naturally infected long back in Delta wave, then the third wave. A lot of our people got exposed naturally. So overall, on that natural immunity, the vaccine-induced immunity, is it going to help, particularly in the children? Because as we know, in children, the risk of severe disease, hospitalization, and death is negligible, virtually minimum. So in that condition, whether they need this injection, so that is what the expert committee or the government will decide, and then only the recommendation comes that the children should be given the vaccination. I think we have to wait for some time till the government maybe they'll be doing some studies, or they'll be looking at some further evidence to demonstrate that this sort is going to be effective in reducing mortality, and these children are particularly at increased risk of hospitalization or death or serious infection with current strains of COVID virus.
As it is in India also now, the number of cases increased to 20,000 cases. Probably we are almost entered into a fourth wave. So in this situation, Indian government and the Ministry of Health is taking upward steps to manage the children, because children are going to the schools now. The schools are starting from June, July. So this is the time to vaccinate the children. Now NTEC is introduced through the Covaxin and the Corbevax, the two vaccines which are Bharat Biotech and the biological E. So these vaccines are proven 92% efficacy in its strength. So obviously, definitely, this vaccine helps the children to protect from the fourth wave virus, either it's a BA4 or BA5 virus. So hence, even certain vaccines are there for the below 5 years. So probably shortly, our Indian government also introduces the vaccine for the below 5 years age group.
Vehicular movement remains affected in many parts of central Delhi, especially on the roads around Mandi House and Jantar Mantar, due to a Samvidhan Sankalp march led by Vishwa Hindu Parishad. The Delhi Traffic Police had also issued a traffic advisory regarding their arrangements for the event to ensure motorists face less inconvenience. The rally, organized in protest against the killings in Rajasthan's Udaipur and Maharashtra's Amravati, started from Mandi House around 11 a.m. and will culminate at Jantar Mantar. Thousands participate in the event. The rally commenced from Mandi House and went through the Barakhamba Road and Tolstoy Marg to reach Jantar Mantar. To facilitate smooth flow of traffic, only pedestrians were allowed on at least 9 important roads. It needs to be mentioned here that on June 21st, 54-year-old chemist Umesh Prahlad Rao Kole was hacked to death in Amravati by 3 men on a bike when he was on his way back home on a scooter. It has been alleged that Kole killing was the result of the outrage over suspended Bharatiya Janata Party leader Nupur Sharma's comments on Prophet Muhammad.
देखिए, आज दिल्ली का समस्त हिंदू समाज
इसका ध्यान
सड़कों पर है और संकल्प मार्च है और ये संकल्प है इस देश को
थोड़ा सा सजग रहने की आवश्यकता है।
संविधान का सम्मान करने के लिए भारत एक संप्रभु राष्ट्र, यहाँ संविधान से शासन चलता है और किसी को इजाजत नहीं दी जा सकती है कोई भी कानून अपने हाथ में ले और यहाँ पर इस तरह की घटनाएं हो। और आज पूरा हिंदू समाज ऐसी जो बढ़ती घटना है जो देश के संविधान को चुनौती दे रहे हैं उनके खिलाफ आज हिंदू समाज एकजुट कर खड़ा हुआ है।
And back to region now. The Global Naga Forum has organized a Naga Solidarity Walk from Kohima that will travel through Maro territory, Maram territory, Pomai territory, and will converge at Tahamzam in Manipur's Senapati district. Well, the Naga Solidarity Walk will begin on July 28th and commence on 29th of July. But what is the purpose behind this rally? As per the Global Naga Forum, the peoplehood of the Nagas has reached a critical point for which the Solidarity Walk has been organized to converge in a common path of healing and peace for a shared journey to an undivided homeland under the theme One People, One Destiny. Meanwhile, the GNF has appealed everyone to make the event successful. And our Chief of Bureau, Arindam Das, spoke to Kevitho Kera, who is the co-convener of the Naga Solidarity Walk. Let's listen in.
We are joined in by the member of Global Naga Forum, Mr. Kevitho Kera. Well, there is going to be a Naga Solidarity Walk 2022 that is going to be organized by Global Naga Forum. Can you please brief us about this Solidarity Walk?
Okay, the Solidarity Walk, it will start from Kohima on the 28th of July. We'll cross the border and we will into Manipur. And on the 29th of July, we plan to reach Senapati and we plan to have a short formal program. And we hope that a lot of people join along the way. We plan to have it peacefully, non-violently, this Solidarity Walk. We do not want to provoke anyone, any authority, nothing as such.
Yes, and what is the background of this Solidarity Walk?
With so many things at stake at the moment, with talks going on between Delhi and Naga leaders also, we felt the need that it is time that Nagas send out a united voice to Delhi especially. That we Nagas, our aspirations are one, that our destiny is one, no matter what. So Global Naga Forum thought, it is right time that Nagas voice out our rights peacefully and loudly to Delhi.
And what request or appeal you'd like to make for participation in this Naga Solidarity Walk?
Yes, we especially want to appeal to our fellow Naga brothers and sisters that no matter wherever we are, our destiny is one. we are one people. Our destiny is one. We should not forget the sacrifices made by our ancestors, our forefathers, and we appeal that during this solidarity walk, everything is kept peaceful, non-violent, and wherever you are, we appeal to you that you come out, you come out of your comfort zone and you join this solidarity walk and send a loud message, especially to the whole world to hear.
Thank you very much. That was member of Global Naga Forum, Mr. Kevito Kera, talking to Northeast Live.
Shifting focus to a big story from Meghalaya now. In a major breakthrough, the state police has busted an interstate gold smuggling racket. 5 persons have been arrested so far in raids that were conducted in various locations in Meghalaya and Assam. A total 7 gold biscuits worth rupees 50 lakh and cash worth rupees 27 lakh were recovered during the raids. So big story at this point in time, viewers, from the state of Meghalaya. In a major breakthrough, Meghalaya police has busted an interstate gold smuggling racket. 5 persons have been arrested so far in raids that were conducted in various locations in Meghalaya and Assam. A total of 7 gold biscuits worth rupees 50 lakh and cash worth rupees 27 lakh were recovered during the raids. Meghalaya DGP L.R. Bishnoi, while addressing the media, gave details about the big breakthrough for police.
So we have seized 7 number of biscuits, gold biscuits, each biscuit weighing 117 gram. So total weight is 819 gram, and this is a 24 karat pure gold. And the market cost of these biscuits as on today is approximately 50 lakh rupees. We have conducted multiple raids in the various locations of Meghalaya as well as Assam, and we were able to apprehend one Shanjha from Barpeta districts, and we have recovered total 27 lakh rupees and 11,480 cash. In cash, we have also seized 4 ATM cards, 3 identity cards, and 10 numbers of mobile phones. So after the CDR analysis, we found that the interstate gang is operating to smuggle gold from Bangladesh to Meghalaya, and from Meghalaya to Guwahati, and from Guwahati to Siliguri, and then other parts of India. So far, we have arrested total 5 people, and we unearthed the nexus between the Assam as well as the Meghalaya criminals.
On to Sikkim now. Well, President of Sikkime Nagrik Samaj, Bharat Basnet, in a video statement has called out the action of the Sikkim Krantikari Morcha-led Sikkim government in banning the proposed Joint Action Committee and Mega Peace Rally scheduled for July 11th. Well, Basnet in the video statement alleged that the action of the government is an attempt to suppress the truth and save Chief Secretary S.C. Gupta from alleged corruption charges leveled against him. It may be mentioned here that Gangtok District Administration yesterday imposed prohibitory orders under Section 144 of Criminal Code of Procedure in entire Mahatma Gandhi Marg and other vital roads from July 9th till 12th. Meanwhile, Basnet also reiterated that the handwriting on the checks issued to S.C. Gupta was the same as his own handwriting and questioned how sale of property in Rajasthan can be done on Sikkim stamp paper. It may be noted here that Sikkime Nagrik Samaj on the 2nd of July had served a 3-day ultimatum to the state government for initiating action against the chief secretary over alleged corruption allegations.
हाम्रो एउटै माग थियो सिक्किम सरकारले सिक्किमको सचिव वर्तमान मुख्य सचिव सुरेश चन्द्र गुप्तले गरेको घोटालाको जाँच होस्। यो कुराको सरकार तर्फबाट कुनै प्रकारको सुनवाई नहुँदा जोइन्ट एक्सन कमिटी गठन हुनु पर्यो र त्यसलाई अझै चाप दिनको लागि 11 तारिक हामीले शान्ति जुलुस गर्ने निर्णय लिएको। तर दुःखको कुरो लगत्तै 8 तारिकको दिन सिक्किमको गृह विभागका सचिवद्वारा कोभिड-19 को न्यूमा नोटिफिकेसन जारी गरियो। एक नम्बर र सँगसँगै लगत्तै फेरि केही समय बादमा 8 तारिकको दिन डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर अफिस जो डीसी इस्टबाट एउटा प्रोहिबिटरी अर्डर जारी गर्यो। यसले 144 धारा त्यो जग्गाहरूमा घोषणा गर्यो, 4 वटा ठाउँमा, विशेष गरी जहाँनिर एमजी मार्गमा पिस र्याली गर्छौं भनेर जो हामीले घोषणा गरेको थियो जोइन्ट एक्सन कमिटीले, त्यो ठाउँमा नै 144 धारा लगाइयो। सुरेश चन्द्र गुप्तज्यूले 3 तारिकको आफ्नो सफाइमा 6 वटा चेक भन्नुभयो र त्यो चाहिँ किन भन्दा उनले राजस्थानको जमिन बिक्री गरेको भनेर भन्नुभएको छ। हामीले जनताको अगाडि, मिडियाको अगाडि आएर हामीले भन्यौं जो यो 6 वटा चेक उहाँले भन्नुहुँदैछ उहाँको चेक हो यो चेकमा जुन सुरेश चन्द्र गुप्ता भनेर नाम लेखेको छ 9,50,000 वर्ड्समा लेखिएको छ। यो यति लेख्ने अरु कोही होइन, सुरेश चन्द्र गुप्तज्यू स्वयं नै हुनुहुन्छ। कारण यो चेकमा लेखेको ह्यान्डराइटिङ र उहाँले दिएको स्टेटमेन्ट, यो दिएको छ स्टेटमेन्ट, यो उहाँकै ह्यान्डराइटिङ हो।
And on to some international news now. Well, former Chancellor Rishi Sunak has launched his bid to become the next UK Prime Minister following Boris Johnson's resignation. In a campaign video released on Twitter, Sunak said, "Someone has to grip the moment and make the right decisions, which is why he is standing to be the next leader of the Conservative Party and the Prime Minister." Rishi Sunak's grandparents came from Punjab. He has 2 daughters with Akshata Murthy, the daughter of Infosys founder N.R. Narayan Murthy. They met while they were students in California. And in the video, the 49-year-old MP shares the story of his grandmother who boarded a plane to England as a young woman, armed with hope for a better life. She managed to find a job, but it took nearly a year to save enough money for her husband and children to follow her, Rishi Sunak said in the video. Well, he goes on to add that family is everything to him. Sunak's resignation as Chancellor of Exchequer had triggered an avalanche of resignations in the Boris Johnson cabinet, forcing Johnson to step down. If Rishi Sunak wins the top seat, he will be the first Indian origin man to be the British Prime Minister.
Let me tell you a story about a young woman almost a lifetime ago who boarded a plane armed with hope for a better life and the love of her family. This young woman came to Britain, where she managed to find a job, but it took her nearly a year to save enough money for her husband and children to follow her. One of those children was my mother, aged 15. My mum studied hard and got the qualifications to become a pharmacist. She met my dad, an NHS GP, and they settled in Southampton. Their story didn't end there, but that is where my story began. Family is everything to me, and my family gave me opportunities they could only dream of. But it was Britain, our country, that gave them and millions like them the chance of a better future. I got into politics because I want everyone in this country to have those same opportunities, to be able to give their children a better future. Our country faces huge challenges, the most serious for a generation, and the decisions we make today will decide whether the next generation of British people will also have the chance of a better future. Do we confront this moment with honesty, seriousness, and determination? Or do we tell ourselves comforting fairy tales that might make us feel better in the moment but will leave our children worse off tomorrow? That's why I'm standing to be the next leader of the Conservative Party and your Prime Minister. I want to lead this country in the right direction. I ran the toughest department in government during the toughest times when we faced the nightmare of COVID. My values are non-negotiable: patriotism, fairness, hard work. I've told you a bit about my story, but I'm running to be our next Prime Minister because it's your stories that matter most.
And while news and updates continue on Northeast Live, so stay tuned for more news. Thank you.
News to keep you ahead. Evening Prime, every day at 7 p.m.